Welcome to another episode of Andy's Chomping at the Bit, brought to you by Big Andy Media, the official sponsor of every Friday episode of Andy's Chomping at the Bit. So, today's episode is going to be on support, and it's going to actually be a two-part series. Today, I want to focus on receiving support, and the reason I decided to break it into two episodes, two segments, and I was actually talking to my mom about this, is there's an observation that I've made, and I know other people have made this observation as well, that oftentimes we have two categories of people, typically, not always, but typically. And usually, if you struggle to give support, it's really easy for you to receive it, and vice versa. So one of the things I struggle with is receiving support, except for when I was on drugs. Trust me, back in those days of active addiction, the whole thing goes out the window. It's really easy to receive at those moments because you're an addict. It's driving you. But as far as in the clean and sober life, recovery life, I don't know why I struggle with it too, but well, I do. I went through and I found some reasons, but for a long time I didn't understand it. Uh, but I have no problem. I've never had a problem really, not too much as far as giving support. And and so let me focus on what I'm saying by support. If I see if a friend comes to me and they're struggling with something and they share something with me, I I look at it as I look at it as a blessing, the thought that they felt comfortable coming to me with about something that they're struggling with, or if someone asks me for help in general, even if it was back when I was, let's go all the way back to when I was working at Sam's Club pushing carts, right? Um, if someone asked help for something, I always looked at it as, typically I looked at it, I should say, as, an honor. Someone thought that, I was capable of helping them. So great. That's a great thing to do. Same with when you get the chance to give someone a present or help someone out, a pay it forward kind of moment. Those, the thing about giving support is it usually, when it comes to people, if you notice that someone's struggling and a good person, it feels good to help, or even a complete stranger. You know, it oftentimes it's rewarding. The feeling itself is rewarding. Being able to help someone, they don't need to pay you back. Just being there is all that matters. You don't even need a thank you if it's sincere. You really don't. You just There are times though where you help someone and a thank you's definitely highly recommended. Or you know nobody works for free all the time, so you still need to put food on your plate, put a roof over your head. So there's moments where it's different if it's you know. But as far as like for a friend helping someone out, helping them find resources, or um, simply being an ear to listen to, to hear what the struggles are, and being a soundboard sometimes that it feels good for me to be able to help. But where the struggle comes, and fortunately I've recognized this for a little bit now, a little bit of time, and so while it still happens, I have to consciously think about it and fight it. And that is when I am struggling to reach out. Um, I've been blessed as far as with family. It's actually easier for me to do this with family for some reason. But I've been blessed to have a very supportive family. They helped me even in the moments where I was flat on my face, and they've been here to help me up and to stay in my corner and cheer me on and encourage me to do to follow my dreams, to not give up, to continue growing. And I'm grateful for that. I really am. And there was a point in my life where I would have felt bad for accepting help. Now there's good reason to why, because I'm pretty sure we all know somebody or several somebodies out there that aren't struggling with addiction. They just simply love the idea of freeloading, kicking back, not doing a darn thing, you know, with no intention of doing anything, just simply milking the situation for all it's worth. And it's very easy for that thought of people like that to get stuck in the head. And and I think that the reason it's so easy is because it's part of how society is, at least in America. It's part of how society has been for quite some time. We when we see someone ask for help, and I talked to my mom about this. It was she used to be a special education teacher, and then she retired, and now she's not a teacher, but she's teaching. Uh, anyway, I talked to her about this observation I made from looking back when I grew up, and she even acknowledged it, and that is when we're learning as kids in school, oftentimes when we ask for help or we say I don't know to a problem, we we don't get necessarily the help. We figure it out on your own. You're not trying hard enough. You're not trying. And granted, there are cases where that's absolutely true. But I think the way that it's often, at least when I was growing up, the way it was often approached, and this is no grudge or holding against any person or teachers from my past, because one, times are changing a lot. A lot of new things I learned from when I was a kid to now. So I'd never hold a grudge on that end of things. You know, it's a learning experience. But I feel that when we as a society teach people that asking for help or saying I don't know is lazy, or is just it's because you're being slow, or you're not trying hard enough. If you can't do it without asking for help, you're not trying hard enough. And that's simply, a lot of the time, it's simply not true. Um, there are moments, yeah, where there's laziness for people, myself included, from time to time, where we're not trying hard enough. But it creates a stigma that asking for help is because you're not trying hard enough, that you can do anything on your own if you try hard enough. And that's a lie. Let me tell you right now, that is complete, absolute. I'm not going to say it on the air because it's not an appropriate word. It's a bunch of nonsense. There, that's as clean as I can get it on there. Um, some things I can tell you right now, my addiction, for instance, I could not have quit without professional help, without support from meetings, without, really, it would have been darn tough to get the fight going without the support from my family and friends as well. I know that part is possible because people have done it. I don't know how they do it, but they have, and professional support and meetings have played a factor in that as well. I I could not, no matter how hard I tried, quit my addiction. So that is not healthy. healthy thought. But I was always able to. I feel that I've been able to ask questions as far as that kind of ask for support. But even in the workplace, I wouldn't stop and ask someone for help. If someone offered help, if I was really swamped, I might agree, but I'd never reach out. And even today, not right today, but modern time, when friends come to me and they're struggling, they ask for help, I have no problem as far as listening and being doing the best I can to help. It doesn't feel like a burden or anything. I really actually, like I said, it's an honor when someone trusts you and and um, believes in you enough to talk about their struggles. So and have you as support. But when I'm struggling, I and like I said, I'm working on this, rarely still reach out. And so, I mean, I do reach out when it's recovery related. I've gotten very comfortable reaching out. But there's other areas in life, beyond just the addiction, where I'm a little more hesitant. And I'm aware of this too. Like in the moment, I'm like, why? Why am I all of a sudden knowing that this is what I need to do, knowing I need to ask for help here, knowing I need to um, lean on my support? Why am I all of a sudden um, backing up? Uh, and it's because that part of the past, that programming, doesn't just go away magically. That part in the back of my head that says, if you ask for help, you're being a burden. You don't, you're bothering them. They're gonna, you know, you're slowing them down. You're lazy. You're not trying hard enough. All these things, they rush into my head because it's been programmed for so long, and I still feel that society as a whole goes by that. So I have to literally make a conscious effort to override it, and it's uncomfortable, but progress is always uncomfortable. That's the reality of it. But I have to learn to put myself in their shoes. If they came to me, I wouldn't feel it's a burden. Why am I all of a sudden feeling that the other way around is? Um, Same thing with presence. I during active addiction, particularly, um, I rarely had anything for presents for anyone because any money I got, it smoked away. But I'd receive gifts still from people, and surprisingly, even during active addiction, and I like to receive stuff at that point. You have to remember, um, I still felt bad around Christmas receiving gifts because I couldn't give any, also, and even after I cleaned up last Christmas, I wasn't able to give a whole lot physically either. Um, I was able to give gifts in other ways, um, non-material based, and I had to put put things into perspective. The one thing that I enjoy, it's not, I'm not gonna say it's an addiction, but it's definitely something that fuels me, something that really drives me, is giving back. Um, the feeling of giving is it's I hope everyone has the opportunity to do that, to give something without asking for anything in return, not asking for recognition, not asking for a thank you, just simply giving. Do it anonymously. Give something and simply be able to see it and smile and keep it to yourself. Don't have to share and get credit from the world. Just do it and enjoy those moments. Those are the special moments. And you'll feel so good seeing that something you did that might have been something relatively small, whether it be leaving pennies by those ponies rides in Meyer, um, where, for little kids, just leaving extra pennies there. And that's simple things like that. You don't have to announce it, just do it. And it feels so good because that can make someone's day. And it's a simple task. But those moments, it's sometimes hard to take those moments. And so when I struggle to, for instance, accept a gift, I have to remember that I enjoy giving. And if it makes me feel good in those moments, I have to believe, at least, that if someone went out of their way without me asking or expecting even something, and that someone does something for me, that it might be something that they feel good about too. And it's not something you take and you run and you take more and more and more, but you can graciously accept and be thankful for that person being in your life and appreciate what they have done. You know, they often feel good being able to help as long as you're not taking advantage. So I have to put that into perspective sometimes on my end when I get something. And I have the same problem with receiving compliments oftentimes. I've talked about this in the past with a low self esteem and working to build up. Um, but that goes with support. When someone encourages you, someone compliments you. I for a long time struggled with that. I can honestly say that I am a lot better now than I used to be because I can override that part where feeling bad, uh, feeling like I'm a burden or a letdown, feeling guilty for the compliments. I can understand that it's not something to be sad or ashamed about. It's something to be happy about. Someone's pointing out something good. It's not that you're flaunting over anyone else. Someone's supporting you as far as a dream of yours, a goal of yours. That's great. That they're cheering for you. They believe in you. You should believe in you. I should believe in me in those moments. I do, and so that's why I don't know why I sometimes struggle with it. But I am incredibly grateful and appreciative of all of the support I do have and that I do get, um, even from people that I don't speak with anymore and don't associate with anymore. The support I got at one time, I am still grateful for, and I always will be, regardless of what I may say at times. So that's the dilemma, I guess. You know, I've talked about balancing so many things over the last year and a half, and this is one that somehow I overlooked as far as the balance side of the giving receiving. Um, so it's interesting though. If you just observe it, going forward, you'll find people that, or you'll find it within yourself at least, that either you typically have an easier time giving and not receiving, or vice versa. It's not as common when you're comfortable giving and receiving at an equal level. If that makes sense. It's not that it's impossible. It's harder to reach out and ask sometimes for certain things. I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. So, like I said, I'm comfortable giving. I love giving. Giving back's I enjoy it. That's literally singing for a cause. The the whole spotlight charity event. It's my opportunity to give. I love it. I don't I don't need much from the whole thing. It's just the experience and knowing that I'm either raising at the very least awareness and oftentimes a little bit of funding. That's that's a reward in itself for me. Um, the next step is finding the equal balance of showing more appreciation, I guess, for the support, um, and being willing to ask for the support and accept the support when it's there and when I feel the need for it. So it's a work in progress. I've made drastic growth on this area, um, more than I ever thought I would. Um, but one day at a time. Here you know, we'll see how things go going forward. But it's getting better. It's getting better. Yesterday marked 2 years since my first Andy's Chomping at the Bit daily biscuit, which was the first. And I think today then would mark. I think today would mark the first actual Andy's Chomping at the Bit episode. But if you watch those very early episodes, you will notice a lot of things aside from visually and my voice sounded like this. It's kind of like all ruffly. I mean, I was only 60, I think it was 69 or 70 days clean at that point. So voice took a lot of damage during that point, and it took a while for it to heal. But there was other things, certain areas of my body language. I struggled with something because you don't realize how much the damage, especially early on, that or early on in recovery, you don't see directly as the recovering person the damage that the those moments of active addiction did. So I even struggled with something called crack jaw, the jaw. Like, I can't even imitate it now. Kind of like that. So yeah, it just kind of vibrates, and you'll notice that if you watch those videos. It was early on, brain was still healing. So I'm fortunate how much it healed since then. But you can see those videos from early on to now, and that's why I appreciate where I am today. And I couldn't have been here without the support of other people. So thank you so much for everybody, past and present, who has been there for me. I really am grateful, truly. That will do for today's episode of Andy's Chomping at the Bit, brought to you by Big Andy Media. But I do believe I have a little bit here on Sing for a Cause, because Sunday is another performance. So it's a virtual performance that's live, and it's on the first and third Sunday of every month, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This month, we don't actually have a spotlight charity, but we do have a charitable cause, which is the great one for helping the hungry locally. So I really focused on some Mason County resources this past Sunday. I'm going to try focusing more this Sunday on resources in Muskegon, Ottawa, Kent, and possibly even, or at least a little bit in Oceana County. Try getting a little more areas covered as far as resources. So tune into that. That'll be a fun performance once again. And I will have some more updates for you guys later on that I'll be announcing. Some changes to the timeline for Big Andy Media. But once again, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Please follow, like, share, comment. I like to respond to comments as well, or message directly. Either way, your choice. But I'm grateful for everything you guys have done for me. Thank you. I'll see you guys again on Sunday. And if I don't catch you then, I'll see you then on Monday for another Daily Biscuit. Take care.